Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another video. A little bit of a news update video today. I've lost count of what day it is. I'm not even sure what day it is anymore. It's Monday today. I go home in a couple of days, so the regular normal streams will start again as normal as of next week. But while I'm still here in Cancun, I thought I'd bring you a little bit of a news update. There's a little bit of news to talk about. Firstly, I suppose we'll talk about Ademola Lookman. Sky Sports are reporting that Ademola Lookman is due in Germany within the next 36 hours to complete his move to RP Leipzig. Now, it's rumoured that the move will be for around 22 to 25 million pounds. Obviously, moving over there permanently. Spent half of a season on loan the season before last, sorry. And you know, really caught the eye of the Leipzig supporters and the club as well, and you know, scored something like 5 goals I think it was towards the back end of their season. And I think it's been quite clear for quite some time now that he's not settled at Everton. He hasn't really been given a lot of opportunities under Marco Silva. You know, he wasn't given a fair amount of opportunities, I'd say, under Ronald Koeman and Sam Allardyce either. But it's very clear that he hasn't been settled for quite some time at Everton Football Club. His attitude isn't quite right. And you know what, I wanted to speak a little bit about Ademola Lookman because I think it's one of those transfers that I think you look at in both ways, sort of really. You look at it and you think, well, we're getting £25 million back from a player that, you know, doesn't really play first team football an awful lot, hasn't played a lot of minutes. Yes, has got qualities, yes, has got talent, there's no doubt in that, but his attitude sometimes is a little bit poor, and you know, he's obviously not in Marco Silva's plans. So to get £25 million back for a player that may be deemed as, you know, a dead wood player, or a player that we need to sell in the eyes of Brandon Silva. Not saying that he is deemed as that, but he's obviously deemed as a player that, you know, isn't really in the plans going forward. So if we can get rid of for a decent price, then we will do. Obviously, looking at it that way, you can think, well, okay, listen, you know, it's a decent transfer. We're getting £25 million back from him. We're making profit on the player. You know, he's not settled. He doesn't want to be here. He's showing that with his attitude. Yes, he's got the ability, but if he doesn't want to play for Everton, then we move him on. And if we can move him on and get a fair bit of money, then obviously good stuff. But then you look at it sort of on the other side and you think, well, you look at some of the English players that have gone abroad in recent years. Looking at Jadon Sancho, left Manchester City for very similar reasons, because he wasn't getting enough game time and he didn't feel like he could further his career at Manchester City. Obviously, within a much bigger sort of capacity than we're at now. Obviously, it was because they have world-class players in every single position and are winning the league, whereas ours is just because, you know, Ademola Lookman doesn't fit into what Marco Silva wants. You look at how Jadon Sancho is at Dortmund and how he's performing and how well he is doing, and you know, obviously breaking into the England team, and you sort of do sit there and, you know, there is a little bit of me brain sitting here thinking, well, are we going to regret this transfer? Are we going to be sitting back in 2 or 3 years looking at an absolutely world-class winger in Ademola Lookman, who plays for Leipzig, who's wanted by every single Premier League team under the sun, who's, you know, scoring week in, week out, and being in the England team as well when it comes round to it. Obviously, we don't know that that's going to happen. I think at the minute we sort of have to trust Marco Silva and Marcel Brands. I know there's a lot of fans that aren't really happy with this transfer. I know there's a lot of fans that have got a list of other players that they would rather move on and sell before Ademola Lookman, and that's fair enough, because I do think there's a fair few players within the squad and within the setup that, you know, are deadwood players and do need to be moved on and haven't got any future at the club. Whereas I think Ademola Lookman was one of them where, you know, if we worked on his attitude and we worked on some parts of his game, maybe he would have a future. But it's very clear that the player doesn't want to be here, and I have this attitude with all Everton players, whether it be Romelu Lukaku, whether it be, you know, Wayne Rooney, whether it be anybody, Ademola Lookman. It doesn't matter. If you do not want to play for Everton, I do not want you at Everton. I know there's the whole, you're contracted to play for the club, you should play out your contract, you're a professional, and that's fair enough. We've seen a similar situation with Gana, who, you know, wanted to move to PSG quite openly in January, didn't get his move, so got his head down and continued to play football, and I absolutely commend that. He's a top professional, but again, I stick with it. If you don't want to play for Everton, then piss off, there's the door. And if we can make £25 million back from a player that doesn't want to play for Everton, I suppose we just have to swallow the fact that he may go on and be an absolute world beater, because at the end of the day, keeping him on the basis that there's the potential that he could go on to be an absolute world beater, having his attitude, obviously him not wanting to be at the club, we're just wasting the time of him and us really. If he's not in Marco Silva and Marcel Brands' plans going forward, then what's the point in keeping hold of him? I understand where people are coming from, saying that, you know, he could go on and be the next big thing, and he could. Of course he could, and I think he's got the talent to be honest with you. I think when you see him in bits last season, you've seen how talented he is, you've seen the skill that he possesses. I just think obviously he doesn't want to be here and he's not comfortable being here, and that happens with players, and sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and move them on. And if he does become a world beater, then it is what it is. Have we missed out on him? I don't know. It's not like this is a player that desperately wants to stay at the football club and we're saying no, we need to sell you because you're not in the plans and we can get some money back for you. I think in both parties, I don't think Lookman wants to be an Everton player. I don't think he's wanted to be an Everton player for quite some time. So fair enough, we just have to take that one on the chin and move him on, and if he becomes the best thing since sliced bread, then it is what it is. But at this moment in time, he's nowhere near that level, and we're getting £25 million back from a player that's not in our starting 11 week in, week out, and that's £25 million that can go towards another player that may be in our starting 11 week in, week out. That's £25 million that can go towards a striker that may end up being the player that takes us to that next level. So I suppose you've got to see it positively. Yes, I know some fans are a little bit annoyed by it. Yes, I know it's not the easiest one to take on the chin because of the talent that we all know the lad's got. But again, it's one of those, isn't it? You can clearly see he hasn't wanted to play for Everton for quite some time now, and we just have to move him on. And if we can get £25 million back from him, then that's pretty good business in my opinion. Of course, like I said, Sky Sports reporting that he is due in Germany to complete his move to Leipzig within the next 36 hours. So that should be done and dusted by Thursday, Friday by the time I'm coming home, maybe even Wednesday. Who knows? Another bit of transfer news regarding Kurt Zouma. We spoke about him on the last video, spoke about the Kurt Zouma saga, about where we go next with him. Since then, there was an article in the Mirror stating that he's ready to hand in a transfer request and that he wants to leave Chelsea. He doesn't feel comfortable where he's being told that his position is, or how far down the pecking order he is being told he is. So he wants to put in a transfer request and he wants to move to Everton. Literally within the same night, we heard the report from a better source, a more trusted source, shall we say, saying that he's not putting in a transfer request. He is not ready to put in a transfer request. He's got no plans to put in a transfer request, and he's just basically seeing how it is. Now, I think this sort of epitomises, what to take and what not to take from, tabloid newspapers and from transfer rumours. That was a tabloid newspaper in the Mirror coming out and saying that he's ready to put in a transfer request, and then somebody a little bit closer to the club and closer to football said that he's not going to do that, and then you genuinely believe the latter. Listen, with the Kurt Zouma situation, again, we've spoke about it numerous amounts of times since the end of last season, since the, will Andre Gomes sign, will Kurt Zouma sign? We've spoken about it multiple times, and we all knew that Kurt Zouma was going to be the harder player to tie down. He was going to be the harder sign, and then, I think we sort of understood that a little bit more when it became clear that Andre Gomes had said very, very early on in the transfer window he wanted to move to Everton. Everton had said they want the player, and Barcelona had said they want to sell. Now, it's really, really different with the Kurt Zouma situation. Everton want the player doesn't quite know what he wants yet, and Chelsea are happy to keep him on. And I think, as optimistic as I am, and as optimistic as I am thinking that, the Kurt Zouma transfer is still, in my opinion, a deal that we could definitely do. I think it would cost us a lot more money now than it would have done if Frank Lampard hadn't come in and said, you're up there with the centre backs and you're gonna play a part next season. But I think the most important thing with this is something that I've read on Twitter today, and something that I believe in as well, is at what point do we sort of move on from Kurt Zouma? At what point do we sort of look at the Kurt Zouma saga and we say, right, okay, we've let a centre-back go in Phil Jagielka. Yes, he mightn't have had much to play next season. Yes, he mightn't have played a lot of game time, but we've let him go. He's no longer at the football club. We can no longer utilise that player. We've let Kurt Zouma go, obviously, because he's on loan. We're now sitting on Yerry Mina and Michael Keane as our two centre-halves. Now, as good as I think Michael Keane is, and as good as I think Yerry Mina could be, if one of those two gets injured, which is highly likely within the space of a 50-game season across all competitions, we're bollocksed. And we're going to be relying on somebody from the under-23s to come in who may not necessarily be ready, may not necessarily be prepared physically or mentally for that challenge. We're going to be relying on that. So I think it comes to a certain point in the Kurt Zouma saga where Marcel Brands has to look at it and he has to go, right, okay, well, if we're not getting any movement from Chelsea, if we put in a couple of bids, if we put in, maybe a £25 million bid, a £35 million bid, I don't know, and then they want sort of 50 upwards, it needs to get to that point where we're sort of looking at it and we're thinking, right, okay, what point do we move on? What point do we say, we can't really afford to be pissing about, with the Kurtzuma situation, because we really do ideally need another 2 centre-halves, and we do. You know, we could sit here all day and we could say how much we want Kurtzuma and how good he was for us last season, and he was absolutely fantastic, but on the surface of it, on the paper, the foundation of the whole discussion is that we need at least another 2 centre-halves, because we have let another 2 centre-halves go, and we had 5 last season, and we still had to rely on a Phil Jagielka that very clearly wasn't, fit or capable enough to play, consistent games in the Premier League. There was a point last season where we relied on Phil Jagielka to come in and play 2 back-to-back games, and he couldn't do it. And that was having 5 centre-halves. Now we've got 2 centre-halves, and we still need to replace another 2. We need to bring in players, and we need to bring in players fast for me. And, yes, we all know we need a striker. And I trust Marco Silva and Marcel Brands. I 100% trust Brands and Silva to bring in those players to, to know what they're doing, to have a plan. But I think we're getting to a point now where we sort of need to see what the backup plan is in terms of centre-half, because every centre-half link is with Kurtzuma, and if the Kurtzuma situation isn't progressing massively over the next sort of week or so, then I think we do need to start to see the backup plan, who is on the cards other than Kurtzuma for centre-back cover, because we still do need another centre-back. We still do need another 2 centre-backs, in my opinion, purely because we've let 2 go, and we got to a point last season where we needed to rely on that 5th choice centre-half, and at the minute we haven't got a 3rd choice centre-half. So brilliant news if we do sign Kurtzuma. I want Kurtzuma. I absolutely love him. I thought he was fantastic for us last season. I think his attitude's spot on. I think he's got amazing leadership qualities. I think he's quality at what he does. I think he's a brilliant centre half. But like I said, it needs to get to a point where we either say, right, we're going to crack down on this and we're going to put an official bid in, and we're going to talk to Chelsea and we're going to see how what it would take for Chelsea to let him go. Or we're going to move on and we're going to have a little look at somebody else, because like I said, I've said it multiple times, we don't want it to get too late into the transfer window and then other clubs, other teams start to think, right, well, they're desperate, they need a centre half, they're desperate for the centre half, so we're going to put our bid up by, we're going to put our player up by 5, 10, 20 million pounds, because we know they need a centre half. If we come in the last week and we go to, I don't know, a team over in Germany or Italy and we say, right, we want your centre half for 20 million, they'll go, well, we know you're desperate for the centre half, so you can have them for 40, and then we end up paying over the odds for players, and I know that's not what Marcel Brands does. So like I said, not much in the Kurtzuma situation. It almost seems like throughout the week we took a step forward and then a 2 steps back. It becomes quite clear now that the player isn't going to force a move, however would be open to a move if both clubs can agree a deal. So I suppose we'll just have to wait and see on that one. A little bit of information on Idrissa Gana Gueye. There's been some strong rumours to state that PSG have renewed their interest and have actually put in a bid for Idrissa Gana Gueye. I believe it's around £30 million. Now listen, I think this was inevitable for the summer. I think it was inevitable that PSG were going to come back sniffing. I think it was inevitable that the player was going to, be interested and be open to it, because obviously of how, interested he was in January. I commended Idrissa Gana Gueye for his performances towards the back end of last season. I think he actually improved his performances towards the back end of last season, and I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out now and says, listen, I want this team move. And I think it's at this point now where if we can get a good deal for the club, get a good deal for, Brands and Silva, then maybe we do need to look at moving on. We don't want a player here that doesn't want to be here, and this is a player that at the end of the day was told, you are not leaving in January, and he got his head down and he played consistently well throughout the rest of the season. He didn't moan, he didn't groan, he didn't mumble, he didn't say anything. He just said, right, well, I'm here, so I'm going to do the bits here. So I think if they do come sniffing and he does say, listen, I want to leave, and we can get the right deal for the club, I think we'll struggle to keep Idrissa Gana again. I think that again is another worry, and again that's another plan that Marcel Brands is going to have is who's to come in to replace Idrissa Gana Gueye. Marco Silva's already said in a press conference that Fabian Delph isn't the player to replace Idrissa Gana Gueye, so I suppose we'll have to see who that player is if Idrissa Gana Gueye does move on to PSG. We'll keep you updated on that over the next couple of weeks as well, and see how that one sort of pans out. Hopefully he's still an Everton player by the end of the summer, but personally I'm not too convinced myself. Lastly, last bit of information I want to talk about is Everton play Wigan on Wednesday night. I believe it is rumoured that we're taking 9,000 fans over to Wigan. Obviously it's the closest friendly for fans in and around Liverpool to get to. We've played in Switzerland, we'll play in Germany. This is the closest one, the one friendly in sort of the north of the country, in the country realistically. So absolutely fantastic news and absolutely unbelievable support. If that is true, we're taking 9,000 fans. That's absolutely immense. I'm gutted I can't be there myself. If I was in the country, I'd be over there at Wigan watching the lads play. Should be a really, really good game. Key bit of information about that game is that Wigan are at home, Wigan playing blue. This means that Everton are likely to reveal their away kits between now and Wednesday, and then playing it on Wednesday. The only other alternative is if that Wigan played in their away kit and we played in our home kit. However, I can't see that one happening. It just doesn't make much sense, and I think the away kit's there ready, so reveal it and playing it on Wednesday night against Wigan. A strong source said that was due to happen, so I assume and I hope we'll see the kit between now and Wednesday, and then we'll see the lads wearing it on Wednesday night against Wigan. As soon as the kit is released, I'll try and get a quick video out giving my thoughts on it, and I'll be putting it all over our Twitter account as well, so don't forget to follow us at Mighty Blues YT over on Twitter. You'll see the kit plastered there, you'll see my opinion, and you'll see a lot more information about the football club, as well as these videos that I'm doing while I am here in Mexico. But that's it for today. Please do leave a like if you have enjoyed. Like I said, only got a few more days left in this beautiful country, and then we'll be back at doing the live streams. Got a really, really boss new green screen setup that Joe sorted out for me, so we'll have that on Friday for Friday's live stream. Hopefully I'll be probably a bit jet lagged and probably a bit tired, but I'm hoping to do a live stream on Friday. But like I said, please do leave a like on this video if you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. Don't forget to go over and follow us on Twitter at Mighty Blues YT to keep up to date with all of the latest Everton news and news on the channel as well. I'm trying to do these videos as often as I can while I'm over here, but pretty much every bit of information, every rumour that you're sort of hearing is over on our Twitter, so don't forget to follow us on our Twitter. The link is down below as well. But that's going to do it from me today. A massive thank you for watching. Please leave a like if you have enjoyed. Like I said, subscribe if you are new. I'll see you on Wednesday to discuss the Wigan game, hopefully discuss the new away kit, and maybe discuss some more transfer information as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.